everyone, welcome back to another episode of Louise's Bookish Adventures. Just want to apologize for uploading this a day later than I usually do. I had to focus on my homework assignment, which was due yesterday, and that is the reason why I didn't really have time to edit and post a video. But my goal is to always at least have one every week, and so it's coming to you today. Now, before we get into the video, I want to remind you that you can subscribe to my channel by clicking on the subscribe button on the bottom right corner of the screen. Also comment, I really appreciate that. And if you would like notifications for when I post a video, just click on the little bell. Now let's get into this video. Today's video is going to be all about my wrap up for March. I think I actually did pretty okay in terms of how much I read. I read 6 books, well, more like 4 books and 2 books of a manga series, which tend to go faster, but I think I did pretty okay considering the length of these books. So I can't wait to tell you how I felt about them. The first book I finished in March, so I think I started it actually in February and finished it in March, was The Burning God by R.F. Kuang. This was the final book in the Poppy War series, which is a story that revolves around Asian mythology and like shamans and magic and the opium wars. I think I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. I think it was a great ending to the story. It brought everything full circle and it kind of made it feel kind of like, a nicely wrapped present. It just kind of like closed off all the questions and the storylines, and it made everything like feel like it was resolved. I'm kind of sad though that it's over. I thought it was really good. It revolved around I always forget her name. Rin's journey and the war, and I thought the last like 60 or so pages were just filled with so much, and I was like, oh my god, how can all this be happening at the very end of this book? The whole book had a lot of action the whole time, but I thought it was really amazing, and I definitely recommend this series to anyone that really likes like Asian mythology and like war stories with a lot of politics in it. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what R.F. Kuang writes next. So the next book I finished was The Lady of the Rivers by Philippa Gregory. It is the first book in like her Tudor series, and it focuses on Jacquetta, who is actually the mother of Elizabeth of Woodville, who becomes Queen of England when she marries Edward IV. And it's about her upbringing, like her first husband, and then her the love of her life and all her children, and kind of her relationship with Margaret of Anjou, who is French and marries Henry, the king before Edward IV, and her friendship with her, and trying to give her advice about how to be a proper lady. But it's also about like the 3 brothers of York taking over England, and like how she needs to almost change sides throughout, about who she's gonna follow. And then it's like the precursor to The White Queen, which I'm currently reading, and it's my goal to read all of them, all her books this year. I don't know if I'll get to it because I like read one in 1 month. Now I'm reading the second one. It takes time, but I'm excited to like delve into this world and learn more about the history. And I think I gave that 3 out of 5 stars, just because it's a lot of history, but it's still very interesting. I still really liked it. What I read next was Blackbird Volume 1 by Kanoko Sakurakoji. I'm mispronouncing that, I'm so sorry. And then Blackbird Volume 2 by the same author. I thought it was really cute. I really wanted to, I went to Barnes & Noble with my friend right around my birthday, and I really wanted to kind of delve into the manga world again. It's been a few years, and there were some that I found interesting, but they didn't have the first one. So she has this one at home, and she let me borrow like the first 2 to read there, and I thought it was really cool. It's about like demons, and the main character can kind of like see spirits and demons, and when she turns a certain age, now her blood is very potent to all of them, and like if you marry her, you bring prosperity to your family, but also if you drink her blood, you become like immortal forever and all powerful. So it's her trying to battle that, but she also, like, a friend of hers from when she was younger reappears, and she finds out that he was a demon the whole time, and it's like, what? So I thought it was really cute. I've only read the first two, and I'm excited to read the next, however many that are in the series when I go back to see my friend again. And I gave it 5 out of 5 stars for both. Next was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. Honestly, I felt like it was really slow moving. So the story is about a girl named Addie LaRue who makes a deal with a devil to be able to kind of control her life. She lives in a time where, you get married, you have children, and then you die. And she doesn't want that. She wants more for her life. So when she's put in an impossible position, she prays to the gods and accidentally prays once the sun is down. And that means other types of gods reappear when you pray to them. And she makes a deal kind of like with the devil. And he gives it to her, and she's able to live out her life and never die. And she's immortal. And when she decides she wants to stop, she'll tell him and he'll take her soul. But obviously, if her life was all dandy, he would never get her soul. So what he does as kind of like a way to force her hand is he makes everyone forget who she is. So the moment they see her and then like go into another room, they forget who she is. Or they close the door and then reopen it. It's like, they're meeting her for the first time. So she can never really have any roots. And she can't even like write her name, say her name, she can't make change in the world directly. So like if an artist paints a picture of her, that's fine. They can't even like take a picture of her because it's too permanent. Or like if an artist writes about her, that's okay. But she can't influence change in any way directly, like by her own hand. So she lives her life this way, and it's kind of tragic because she's all alone all the time, except for the demon or devil who visits her every once in a while, who's named Luke. At first, she said it was going to be short for Lucius, and then she realized it's short for Lucifer because he takes the face of a stranger that she draws and likes, and so he does it, I think, almost to punish her too. But anyway, then she meets a boy in a bookstore that actually remembers who she is, and that's when everything changes. However, I felt it took too long to get to that point. Like, I think things started finally happening on page 380, and I'm just like, this took too long. There were a lot of unnecessary scenes that didn't really have to be there. I didn't really, I understand the part for having the past, so you kind of see her journey to where she is now in the present, but I just felt like it took too long. I felt like it was too much description, too much unnecessary stuff. I think I also expected it to be great because I heard people, they were sobbing, they were crying, it was the most amazing thing. And I went into it with all these high expectations, and it kind of got crushed. And yeah, that's kind of why I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. It's not just, that I felt it was way too slow paced for me. It was also because the expectations were so high and then they weren't met. So that kind of shows you, don't go into anything with high expectations. But, also because I read V.E. Schwab and her other books as Victoria Schwab, and they were so great. So I was expecting more from this, and I just didn't get it. So, I mean, obviously these are my opinions. You're totally allowed to have your own, but this is just what I thought of the book. So, all right, next book I read in March, which I think is the last, is The Dark Vault by Victoria Schwab. And this is a story about a girl named Mackenzie who's a librarian in a sense, in not the normal librarian thing, but when people die, they become histories in the shelving units called the archive. And she's a librarian, so her job is sometimes the histories wake up and are stuck in this middle hallway that separates the archives from the real world. Her job is to, go into this little hallway called the Narrows and take the little history and bring it back to their home in the archives. And so that's her job. But then more histories start to kind of wake up, and chaos is kind of happening, and there's like a mystery in this hotel that is turned into apartment buildings that she moves to in the beginning of the story, and a mystery that she's trying to solve. And yeah, and then there's this guy she meets named Wes, who you know, always love a love interest kind of thing, possibly. But there's definitely chemistry, and I thought this was actually really great. It's 2 books in one. It's the Archive and the Unbound, and they put it into like one big book called The Dark Vault. And I thought it was really fun, and I was interested in the mystery. Like, I was interested in the characters. It was really fast paced. It was quick. It was fun, and like, I loved it. And I actually think I gave it, let me check. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because it was such a nice like change of pace, and you know, kind of nice feeling of reading something by her that I really loved, because I finished this after reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, because I'm trying to finish all her books, and I thought it was a really great kind of change of pace, almost like, oh, like, yay, like, this is really great. So she is really, really good writer. It's just that one book that I didn't like. But yeah, definitely should pick up. It's a great read. It was a quicker read. I mean, I started this in the beginning of March actually, but then I put it down. So, but great read. And those were all the books that I read during March. I thought, you know, it was a great reading month. I'm hoping April is a much better reading month. I already finished Vicious by B.E. Schwab in April. I started though in March. I really tried to finish it in March 30th, but ended up being April 1st. I'm just looking down at my cat who's like, box, gonna lay in it. Yeah, I hope you liked this video. You know, please subscribe, comment, click on the little bell for notifications, and I will see you next week with another video. Bye.